vini dans la cour Balimbe, mesdames, messieurs. Et Balimbe, c'est une commune qui trouve dans l'arrondissement Limbé et qui trouve dans le département Nord, pays d'Haïti. Et bien, mesdames, messieurs, dans l'occasion fête patronale commune ça, qui gagne et pour patronne Mont Carmel, que un peu de monde compte souvent attribué dans la question Vodou. Et bon, eh bien, moi connecté des femmes pour être capable de permettre et li regarder comment ça est et faire nous vivre tout et en image belle fête culturelle et historique et mystique ça dans le pays d'Haïti côté que n'a fait une petite visite à travers l'église là l'en fini nous pral font virer zone place là pour nous monter dans site historique et mystique et Boran qui gagne là-dedans Sodo et yon nan soke en pile monde en pile diaspora toujours vini pour capable baigner pour capable al point et chance pour yo capable bien vivre. Donc mesdames messieurs, restez connectés, toujours changer, abonnez, like, commentez et puis partagez vidéo pour capable arriver pile loin. Là, pour nous regarder, nous guettons dans l'église là, côté que nous est en pile monde dans l'église là, et ça qui a fait préparation pour faire là à travers décoration yo, et ça tout qui gagne baleine dans main, qu'a prier, qu'a fait des mandats dans pied, et c'est ça qui c'est Mont Carmel là, n'a invité nous continuer suivre belle vidéo ça. Après nous faisons garder partie dans l'église, nous pourrons descendre et pour nous faire un petit marché, zone place là, et pour nous capable de prendre route, pour nous capable de monter dans Sodo.
Honor and honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Voodoo Hoodoo 101. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day. New Orleans International Vodou Day exists to restore rightful dignity, authority, and global recognition to the West African Voodoo, to the Haitian Vodou, and to the Louisiana Voodoo family of traditions. Our mission, purpose, and the motive behind New Orleans International Vodou Day forms a single coherent vision to protect, unify, and elevate Voodoo, Vodou, and Voodoo as living world traditions with deep ancestral, cultural, and spiritual authority. Our mission frames NOIVD not as a festival, but as a cultural embassy for Voodoo worldwide. New Orleans International Vodou Day responds to the urgent needs of this moment, a time when Voodoo is simultaneously sought after, while yet misunderstood and misrepresented. Our purpose unfolds across several dimensions. New Orleans International Vodou Day exists to protect the traditions from harm. NOIVD confronts misrepresentation in the media, exploitation by uninitiated practitioners, cultural theft and commodification, and historical trauma and colonial narratives. And by establishing standards of authenticity, New Orleans International Vodou Day becomes a shield for the traditions and the communities that carry them forward. NOIVD serves as a platform for public teaching, ceremonial demonstration, scholarly dialogue, and youth and community education. And this ensures that what the world learns about Voodoo comes from real practitioners, not stereotypes, not Hollywood, or outsiders. We continue to strengthen international cultural diplomacy through partnership with the Republic of Benin, Haitian cultural and spiritual leadership, New Orleans cultural institutions, and global diaspora communities. New Orleans International Vodou Day positions Voodoo as a legitimate world religion and diplomatic presence and cultural power. And we continue to invite you to continue to support us, participate, visit, promotion of these events, your donations, your sponsorship of this powerful legacy and expanding international endeavor, and your continued support of our ongoing GoFundMe campaign for New Orleans International Voodoo Day Year 4. Please continue to visit us for connection and more information by participating, volunteering, and supporting our symposium, our Afroecology exhibit, our art exhibition, and our youth programs typically held at Xavier University. Our procession from the river to Congo Square, and our sacred ceremony held at the New Orleans Healing Center. We are also thankful for your continued support and participation on all social media platforms. And for those who participate and support this podcast live in chat and always in archive at your leisure and convenience. So do join us now live on platform with your mic, camera, or photo avatar by way of the QR code in the upper left corner of your screen or by way of the scrolling Streamyard URL. Please continue to visit us for connection and more information at vodouday.org, VODOUDAY.org. Our NOIVD QR code is at the bottom right corner of your screen. And again, we continue to show gratitude and thankfulness for your continued support and participation live here on platform, as well as on the ground, hands-on. Thank you so much, Daniel Neal, for your continued support and participation. Greetings, the born again voodooist, Ayibobo, to you as well. Thank you so much for your support and participation. And we are certainly thankful for our beloved moderator, the beloved Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, who I will be unmuting momentarily after a brief introduction to tonight's podcast. We are sort of continuing an ongoing theme of the week and maybe of the last couple of weeks. Tonight, the roots that cross water, herbal memory from the Middle Passage to today. When we talk about the Middle Passage, we often speak of bodies stolen, bodies transported, bodies surviving. But we don't always talk about what else crossed the water, what else survived, what else refused to die. And today I want to talk about the plants, the seeds, the leaves, the roots, the medicines, and the rituals, the green memory that traveled inside the hair, inside the mouths, inside the pockets, inside the stories of African people forced into Atlantic crossing. And because the Middle Passage wasn't just a rupture, it was also a transition, a botanical transmission, a spiritual transmission, a medicinal transmission. And the herbs that came with our ancestors or were refound, renamed, and reclaimed on this side of the ocean became the backbone of ritual, healing, and sustainability practices that still live with us today. So let's start with the truth. African people boarded those ships already carrying knowledge of African herbalism, knowledge of ritual plant use, knowledge of spiritual ecology. They carried cosmologies where plants were not just plants. They were ancestors, intermediaries, protectors, and teachers. They were part of the cosmology of survival. And even in the horror of the crossing, people braided seeds into their hair. They hid kernels of grain. They carried fragments of roots. Some of these survived, some didn't. But the knowledge, the memory absolutely did survive. And when enslaved Africans arrived in the Caribbean and the Americas, they encountered new ecosystems, new plants, new soils, new climates. And what happened next was one of the greatest acts of botanical genius in human history. They mapped African plant knowledge onto New World landscapes. They found analogs. They found substitutes. They found cousins. They found spiritual equivalents. Take bitter herbs, essential in West African cleansing rituals. Here, bitter herbs became wormwood, mugwort, Yopon holly, our only indigenous caffeinated plant in North America. Plants that carry similar energetic signatures. Plants that could cleanse, purge, protect, and reset. Take cooling herbs used to calm the spirit, to reduce inflammation and soothe the body. In the Americas, cooling herbs became mint, lemon balm, lemon verbena, spearmint, peppermint, and basil. These herbs entered hoodoo, voodoo, obia, and conjure as both medicine and ritual tools. Take fiery herbs, stimulants, protectors, warriors. In the New World, fiery herbs became ginger, cayenne, cowhorn peppers, jalapeno, turmeric, and garlic. These plants were used to strengthen the blood, break fever, protect the home, and energize the spirit. And then there were the trees, the great teachers, the oaks, the palms, the cedars, the pines, trees that became central to ritual work, divination, and healing, trees that mirrored the sacred groves of West and Central Africa. But let's talk about sustainability, because sustainability isn't new. African people have been practicing sustainable agriculture for thousands of years. And in the Americas, enslaved Africans rebuilt those systems under unimaginable conditions. They created maroon gardens, hidden plots in swamps, forests, and mountains. They cultivated cassava, okra, black-eyed peas, kidney beans, sorghum, rice, yams, plantains, and medicinal herbs. They used companion planting, mulching, intercropping, and soil regeneration techniques that modern sustainability movements are only now rediscovering. They use plants to heal each other. They use plants to resist. They use plants to remember. And today, right now in 2026, we are living inside that inheritance. Every time you brew a ginger tea, you are touching a lineage. Every time you burn sage or sweetgrass, hopefully with cultural respect, you are touching a lineage. Every time you plant okra, cowpeas, yopon, mint, turmeric, lemongrass, dragon fruit, figs, mulberry, banana, citronella, stevia, pepper, or sweet potatoes, you are touching a lineage. You are touching the hands of people who refuse to let their knowledge die. And here's the part I want you to hold. Ritual, medicine, and sustainability were never separate categories in African cosmologies. They were one system, one worldview, one practice. Plants were used to heal the body, protect the spirit, feed the community, and sustain the land all at once. So when we talk about herbs tonight and moving forward in hoodoo, in voodoo, in obia, in conjure, in Afroecology, we are talking about a living archive, a green archive, a botanical archive of survival. We are talking about plants that cross the water, plants that cross time, plants that cross trauma, plants that crossed generations, plants that crossed into your hands, your yard, your altar, your kitchen, your medicine cabinet. And as we move deeper into climate crisis, food insecurity, and ecological instability, these traditions are not just cultural. They are very necessary. They are blueprints for our survival. They are guides for how to live with the land, not against it, how to grow food in small places, how to use herbs as medicine, how to build community resilience, how to honor ancestors through cultivation. So tonight and every day moving forward, but particularly in this episode, we're going to explore that lineage. We're going to talk about the herbs that survived the Middle Passage, the herbs that were refound in the Americas, the herbs that became central to ritual, medicine, and sustainability, and the herbs that continue to shape our lives today. Because the story of African descended people is not just a story of suffering, it is a story of cultivation, a story of botanical brilliance, a story of ecological mastery, and a story of plants that refuse to die and people who refuse to forget. So, greetings and salutations, one and all. Come on in, beloved co-host and moderator, Sister Tony Val Martinez, and let us begin. And I just want to add, tomorrow night, we're going to talk specifically about urban ritual and city plants. There is no excuse. There's no lack of space. There's no lack of resources that should be preventing you from growing your own herbs, your own food, your own medicinal plants, your own vegetables. Greetings and salutations, beloved Tony Val. How are you doing and what say you?
Hi. Hello, everyone out there. Greetings in the listening audience. I was thinking about, I'll be on a website for the public library, and something I didn't know that the people here in New Orleans can do. You can get free seeds at the libraries, at some libraries. So look on their page, public libraries, and they'll tell you the list of libraries that offer these free seeds. They're supposed to go by, the seasons, what you should be planting next month and what you should be planting in the fall or whatever like that. So that may be something, that'll help you out economically. Instead of buying seeds, you could go and get the vegetables that will be ready for planting in a couple of weeks. Right now, I haven't done anything with an outside garden by me just moving and getting my house together, but I plan to, and it's not a day goes by, I don't sit on my porch and say, oh man, I got to get some basil. I got to get basil to get rid of sweet basil, to get rid of these flies, to put on my front porch so I can sit out there in peace with the flies and mosquitoes. I'm not sure, in other states or whatever, how they weather permits them to grow stuff. But I do know in New Orleans, it's kind of kooky. We can pretty much plant anything any time of year here, really, because our weather is like that. I mean, we might not get winter until January.
If then.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can start them off inside and then, move them as the weather goes. How do you protect your plants and trees when the weather changes, Divine Prince?
Well, that's a great question. Just to tag on to your moving comment, yes, moving your garden can be a challenge if you have not prepared for it, or if you're not doing what I'm doing, which is my garden for the most part is entirely above ground. Grow bags. You can get grow bags in 10-gallon, 20 to 30-gallon, 50-gallon, or even bigger. I also have huge terracotta pots, the largest size you can possibly obtain at Lowe's. That I had to have some young folks come and help me move 5 houses down the street when I moved 2 years ago. So I was able to move almost my entire garden. The only thing I was not able to move was my sugar cane, which I had planted into the ground, and my elephant years. But everything else is in grow bags and or pots. Now, when the snow, the cold snaps do come, I have maybe a dozen old blankets, sheets, that I will go and throw over my garden, over my trees, over my plants, to protect them from the frost, from the freeze, from the weather. Certainly, there are some plants that cannot tolerate, below 50 or below 40 degrees. And I tend to keep those plants in my 10-gallon grow bags, which makes them easier to move indoors until, the cold snap passes. We typically don't get freezes or cold snaps that really last longer than a day or two at the most. I know we had that freak snowstorm. Was that last year or the year before? And it took
The year
maybe,
before.
yeah, and it took
Last
maybe,
year. You know.
yeah, it took maybe 2 or 3 days for the snow to melt. But for the most part, my entire garden survived. And if I remember, I had not taken anything into the house at that time. I had just thrown my sheets, winter sheets, those heavier cotton winter sheets, and old spreads and old blankets, and threw them over my plants. Even my pineapple survived and is still thriving. In fact, it looks like it's going to flower this year. My blueberries survived the winter snowstorm and cold. So as the beloved Sister Tony said, it certainly can be a little bit easier for us in the South, and particularly in Florida, Louisiana, parts of Texas, but there's really no excuse. I had a flourishing garden when I lived in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is almost to Carolina Beach. I lived not even a mile from Carolina Beach, for those of you who know the area and what I'm talking about, which is a historic area where Black homes, Black families, Black farmers used to live before the gentrification began. They're turning a lot of that now into golf courses and resort areas. But I was able to grow almost anything that I'm growing here in New Orleans there. I just couldn't grow my more tropical plants there. And of course, almost everything would die off when the cold and the freeze would come, but a great deal would come back in the spring when it got warmer.
Now, what I did one time by my plants being pretty close to each other, where I could like cover like 4 or 5 plants in different pots with one big comforter, like a queen size comforter. And I still wasn't satisfied with that. One time I just had, the sheet. So I took a pie plate, put some charcoals on my stove and lit them, put them on a pie pan, put them on the ground around the plants, and then cover them up to generate that extra heat at the height of the night when it's really cold.
Mm-hmm.
Before the sun comes out. Take like 1 or 2 charcoals on a pie pan, like you get when you buy a sweet potato pie or something, and just light them on the stove and put them there and put them underneath the cover on the ground. And that helps add more heat to the soil and everything, because it's really the roots I worry about on a lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff regrows itself unless the root dies. So that's what I ended up doing 1 year. I mean, gardens take work. They do at times.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
like anything, like a relationship.
Yeah, like raising
Sometimes it
kids.
just, yeah, but it's worth it because they sustain you, they feed you. And like the Divine Prince said, and this time of economic uncertainty, and then every time you turn around, it's something wrong with the vegetables. We got explosive diarrhea. Well, I'm not worried about that if I grow my own mustard greens and my own cabbage and my own lettuce.
That's
tomatoes. I'm not buying that at the store, and I think now that the what it is, the food people, FDCA. Who is the food people? They're supposed to inspect the food for the country. That they cut all the money out for them. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration. They said that a couple of years ago, the money was cut for that. As soon as Trump came in, he cut the money for that. But it actually kind of started in his first term, and they stopped monitoring stuff. They've been monitoring this new foodborne parasite a couple of years ago when Biden was in office. They was monitoring it because it was out there then. But when Trump cut the funding, no one was monitoring it. Neither kind of blew up, and it's out there. And
I think I heard
30 states?
I heard we went from like 200 monitors down to maybe 5 for the entire nation.
Yeah. And that's monitoring our food source. And I mean, you know, a lot of people went to raising chickens when the price of eggs went up. But, you know, you may want to do that not just for eggs. You may end up having to eat some of them chickens, because if nobody's monitoring the vegetables, definitely nobody's monitoring the meat for those that eat meat like myself, which I'm kind of getting away from because it's high. The price is high.
Yeah.
And I don't want to eat all that pork, you know. So it's just high, and it's getting to dangerous levels of sustaining yourself. And, you know, I would advise everybody to learn how to preserve their own foods. Even if you're not growing them, when you get them from the farmer's market, where they're cheaper and plentiful when they're in season, you know, to put them up. I think I was telling Sister Bianca was like, what I'm going to do with all these limes? And I was like, freeze them. I mean, take the lime juice, squeeze them, put them in ice trays, make ice cubes, and put them in a Ziploc bag. We don't use lime juice. I know I don't. But one ice cube size cube of lime probably be all you need, you know, and then you'll have fresh lime juice all year round. I keep a deep freezer.
Yes.
I keep a deep freezer. I mean, it's imperative to learn how to, you know, blanch your vegetables for freezing. You don't just stick them in the bag straight out the garden. They got a lot of good books out that you could get. And like I said, I was especially telling people they need to get that one that's not just one, but those that specialize in the recipes of, you know, our ancestors, our grandparents, how they provided food and made it stretched, and how they cooked it, and with very few ingredients too. And that's the foods we love today. That's what we call soul food and comfort food. That's where it comes from. So that,
you know, I
can
agree with
eat
you
well.
about that meat. I agree with you about that meat. I started backing off meat before I left California in the early 90s, and basically became a flexitarian. But today I'm primarily a fish eater. I will certainly eat fish, salmon, but I don't eat a whole lot of meat at all. And I take great pride in saying I have not been in a Walmart or a big box store or a grocery store since before the pandemic. I get my greens and the majority of my produce out of my garden.
That's great. That's really great. That's really great. And that is, a single person can really do well with a backyard garden of medium to small size, as far as providing themselves with, you know, a lot of stuff. You to eat, especially if you just eat mainly vegetables. You know me, I like to catch my own fish, but now I'm
Mhm.
so afraid to get the fish from the inner city waterways because every time you turn around, a pipe is busting. They got a boil water advisory,
Oil spills.
and yes. So until I can get to areas where the water is like the Gulf, really, where it's a lot of water, I don't even want to eat fish that's caught. I'm scared, what they've been sucking in, and it's just going to be hard for us people that live on moderate incomes because we haven't really felt all the effects of them putting out all the farm immigrants. Um, Stuff is high, stuff is scarce. Because a lot of stuff is rotting in the fields. And I think by next summer, we really gonna be feeling it because
Yeah.
it's coming up when it's time to plant again. And it's
And
time to
particularly if
harvest
you're
coming up
unprepared.
soon.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
particularly if you're unprepared, particularly those who are unprepared.
Yeah.
Again, tomorrow we're going to talk about urban rituals and city plantings for those who, got excuses for why you can't grow, how to protect your plants in the winter and keep them thriving. But I also think it's important that we talk more about sustainability, particularly for families, households with more than just one or two people. You have to think critically in choosing what you're going to garden, what you're going to grow. Certainly, some plants, smell nice, look nice, have a degree of popularity to them. But if you begin to think about sustainability, protein, food that carries a little impact and weight to it, like yams and sweet potatoes, bananas, plantains, your beans. I have black eyed peas. I have black beans. I have red kidney beans in my garden. So we'll talk more about how you can grow sustainable foods that are filling, that can meet many recipes and many menu ideas, and keep your family afloat, particularly when times continue to get hard.
And we have run out of time. And I want the Divine Prince to make sure he acknowledges our listening audience on our various platforms before it's time for us to close out the show. Divine Prince, take it away.
Yes, thank you so much to all of you who show up live in chat and participate. Again, Daniel Neal, faithful member here on the ground, hands on, as well as in the virtual space. The born again voodooist, we certainly appreciate you. And Apostle Hudson, welcome back. We certainly appreciate seeing you in the room tonight. And we're always thankful for those who show up and participate by way of IG, Instagram, Omni. Oh, we certainly appreciate you. Pav Una Gato Preto, thank you so much for your participation and support. Ray Goodman, thank you for joining us by way of IG. El Laguna De Hoso 21, we certainly appreciate you. RH Wright, thank you so much for joining us. Peace Within Thy, we certainly appreciate you. Sally Baby 504, greetings and salutations to you. Again, Apostle Hudson, we appreciate you. Simba joined us. We certainly are grateful for your participation. Sesum Tin Baby says Tin Baby. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for your participation. Favor Steve joined us. We certainly appreciate you. Him Malaya, thank you for joining us. Bay for let go. Bay before I let go. We certainly appreciate you. Irvin Legend, we certainly appreciate you. The Muddy Water Botanica, greetings and salutations. And Tisha 19 Digital, thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward for your continued support and participation. Weeknights, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on a platform near you or by way of our QR code in the upper left corner of your screen with the little blue ducky head in it, or by way of the scrolling URL. We do on the occasion have to take a night off. Things happen. We do offer our apologies, but we do our best to be here every weeknight, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So until next time, offering you divine, all blessed peace and love, joy and prosperity. Odabo, Ayibobo, Asheo, and good night.
Good night, everyone. Have a nice night.
Is the most African of our traditional dances. It is usually associated with wakes or 9 nights, but our African ancestors performed this ritual at births, anniversaries, and Thanksgiving ceremonies. The drum is an integral part of this dance ritual, and white rum is used to anoint the players and instruments prior to the start of the ceremony. Kumina is performed primarily in the parish of St. Thomas and, to a lesser extent, in St. Mary and St. Catherine.
Please, allow me to show you something.
They say I'm crazy and that might be true. I got this white in my DNA, yeah, I'm coming for you. It's time we turn the tables, flip these motherfuckers on you. I wanna see you hanging from trees, it's time you pay for your dirt and your showtime. You created the monster, you created the beast. Now all this savagery you just gon' reap. I'm coming home, daddy, to the plantation, and I'm taking the lives of everybody, including the children, on some Nat Turner. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. I met my girl Harriet at the gate. If you wanna know how she doing, yeah, she straight. But she had one question: when we gon' get up? All that talking tough, yeah, we don't walk it tough. She got it locked and loaded, got that piece up on her side. She looked me in my eyes and said, "Meet you ready to ride?" Moving forward, you gotta use both eyes. Watch your front and watch your back. Keep your hands up on your gas. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. He sit at the table, but he don't order no bacon. He greet me in those words, assalamu alaikum. Got them glasses on his face and them waves in his head. He go by the name of Detroit Red. He looks me in my eye and says you only get one try. Know that your biggest opposition will come from the inside. I know you wanna love them all, but don't even try, because they'll smile up in your face while plotting your demise. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. We are the children of the ancestors that weren't punk bitches.